Hi everyone, welcome back to the 12 days of Postmas collaboration with Monica, crafting with Queenly Lady, Monica Paper Mona, and myself. For 12 days, we are bringing you cards that are easy to post. Each day, we are working off a different prompt, and for today, it was shaped cards. I'm going to make a lantern shaped cards. That's the first for me. I've never done one before. But I created this template that you can see on my screen now, and I will leave a link for you in the description box below where you can download it if you wish. So I have two of the solid pieces and one of the more detailed one. On one of the solid pieces at 5.5 inches, which is just under that top bit of the lantern, I created a score line. I fold and burnish it very well, both sides, and then I'm just going to add my glue to that bit. I am going to attach the other solid piece to that one, and just like that, a card base is created. It's so easy to create shaped cards like this. My idea for this card was to create like a wintry scene, like a white Christmas. Going to use the same stamp I used yesterday with the lamppost and the sleigh in the car, but today I'm going to use the reindeer, the little tree, and some snowflakes. So I'm putting the detailed one with the windows, can I call those windows, on top, and I'm just using that as a guide of where I should be placing those stamps, the reindeer and the tree, Christmas tree, which I will be turning into a snowy tree in here. So I am using my stamping platform for this, and I'm going to heat emboss this with white embossing powder. So you'll not see it much until I do ink blending on top, but I'm using my anti-static bag in here and my Versamark ink pad. And I'm going to stamp it where I've placed my stamps beforehand. And then I'm going to use the opaque bright white superfine embossing powder by Wow to heat set these. Now you'll not see much in here because it's white on white obviously, but once I do the ink blending it will all come to life. Now I could have done this the other way around. I could have ink blended first and then stamped and heat sent on top of the ink blended piece, but I thought it was just fun to do some ink resist technique just like this. I also bringing in the snowflake stamp, and I'm just picking it up with my little stamping block, and I'm just going to add it. I really need to cover the area just that shows or will show behind those 4 windows on the front panel. So I'm just adding them here and there, and again the same thing as earlier, and I'm going to heat set this with the white embossing powder. For my ink blending, I'm using my magnetic mat to hold my card base down. And I'm starting off with tumbled glass, which is a very pale blue, and I only really need to cover the area just right behind that window. Now for this bit in here, I'm not doing any smoothing blending. I want it actually to be quite rough, like a snowstormy kind of a day out there. That was my idea anyway for this. But as you can see, as I am adding the color high, all the white heat embossed areas start to lift up. So I also added some speckled egg, and then I added some salvage patina just on the bottom as well. Now I want to spritz some water on it. I covered up the rest of the card. This is all sped up, so I did wait a little bit longer than what you could see here for the water to react with my inks. But I also decided to bring in some acrylic ink, and I have a piece of acetate that I spritzed a little water on top of the acrylic ink, and then I'm adding lots of splatters, like a real snowy day out there. I think it will look so good behind the other panel that will have the windows on it. So first I only wanted to add 1 or 2 splatters, and then I just went wild with it. I just added loads and loads of it, and I loved how this turned out. I genuinely did. I think I don't messy play often enough because it's so rewarding, it really is. So I took my magnetic mat right away to the sink to wash all the acrylic ink off. It just comes off much easier when the paint is fresh. And now I'm going to work on that front panel. I do want to add blues to this too. However, I wanted to add a bit stronger blues to this one because I knew that I will be decorating this with white things in a little while. So I brought in Salty Ocean and I'm just going all around. I'm starting off with my ink blending brush, but then I bring in a stencil brush. I don't know why. Lately, I just enjoy using these stencil brushes. I do have a set from Craft Stash, and then I ordered loads more from Amazon, and I just love using them. I really think I get a real nice and smooth blend with them. Now, I wouldn't go on large areas, but for small bits like this, I think those stencil brushes are absolutely amazing. And then I'm filling in the areas, tumbled glass, the same one as I used earlier on, only the edges are darker. Now, it was missing something in here for me, so I came back and I added some of the darkering, the salty ocean, all around the little, I'm going to call them window frames, the openings there. So, and you will see how much of a difference that makes. So sometimes it's a very little details. Just look how much better it looks already just because I darkened all the openings up in there. So I have a piece of acetate here which has this snowy detail on it, and I want to say it's from Hunkydory maybe. I'm not sure. I had this in my stash for such a long time. I haven't got this in hand in here when I'm doing voiceover, but when I find it, I will link to it in the description box below, or leave some description in the box below. So I am using double-sided tape to attach that to the panel, and then more double-sided tape to attach this panel to my card base. I'm gonna come in with some cola glue as well. I want this to be nice and strong. And again, I'm working on 250 GSM card in here, just like I did the days previous, because we are making cards that are perfect for posting. I don't want these to be too bulky. I want to be able to do some dimensioning on the front for decorating. Now you can see how easily you would be able to turn this into a shaker card here too, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to leave the depth that I got to work with to add some decorations to the front. How lovely is that? That deer and the tree in the background there. I think it's just so gorgeous. Up until this point, I really thought I was going to use the Merry Christmas sentiment on the roof or on the top part of the lantern. But then I die cut the on the edge snowflake border by Chloe's Creative Cards there. And I really loved that snowflakey detail in there. By the way, the sentiment is from a magazine box kit, the latest one by Chloe's Creative Cards. And then I find this die again, one of last year's Papercraft Society boxes. And this one was designed by Cardmaker Magic, and it has that lovely icicles detail die, the straight one, because there's two different ones, one that goes across a rooftop, and then there's the straight one, and I use the straight one for this in here. So this is how I'm imagining that it might look like now. I had to rethink my sentiment then. Also, one of those snowflakes has these little stars that fall out of it, so I die cut it several times just to get those little stars so I could scatter them in between the snowflakes as well. Yeah, the things you do. So I came back for the Christmas wishes sentiment, and I cut it. I just snipped it in half with my scissors, so this way I could fit them onto the bottom of my lantern. It's Christmas wishes. Another option was to add a sentiment on the inside of the card, but I said I'll try it anyway, and if it doesn't work out, I can always cover it up with something. So I stamped with my Versamarking, heat embossed with the white embossing powder, and I thought it turned out quite good, so I didn't need to cover it up in the end. So it's done to decorating now on the front. So for the snowflakes, first I was going to leave them just as they are white, but then I decided to heat emboss these. And the embossing powder that I'm going to use for the snowflakes is the Snowfall by Stamps by Chloe. But any white sparkly or clear sparkle embossing powder would work. It gives it such a lovely texture. I really love that. Using my fine tip glue bottle, I'm just adding glue to all of the back of those snowflakes and gluing it onto the top, and just taking my scissors to cut any excess away. And by the way, I will be using some of these excess bits that I cut away in here to further decorate this lantern a little bit. I also filled out one of the gaps on the left hand side of the roof is just quite plain, so I added one of the arms of the snowflakes that I cut away just back in there. And now for the icicles, I used the exact same embossing powder, only this time I embossed this twice. So once I've sprinkled it with embossing powder and heat set it, once it cooled down, I put it back onto my embossing ink pad, sprinkled some more embossing powder on it, and heat set it again. It just adds it a little bit extra dimension, sets it away from those snowflakes a bit, so it shows you that it's different parts of the card. And I just love the different little dimension that it gives the card. Using my liquid glue, I just glued it onto the top, and I snip away again any excess just using my scissors. And now just adding some of those little stars back onto the roof. And I think I just used 4 in here. Now for now I'm leaving them white as they are, but in a little while we come back and decorate them a little bit further. I also decided to die cut some small holly leaves or branches. Now, to do this, I decided, I don't know why, but I just had this idea. I have this 8x8 holly square nesting die set in my stash, and the largest one has those lovely holly leaves all around. Now I took a strip of cardstock, just plain white cardstock. I think it was like 1.5 wide, maybe something like that, inch wide of cardstock. And I just cut one side of the square, of the largest square of the set. And then I took my scissors to it and I just snipped some of those leaves off to use on this card. And I wasn't sure how many of these I was going to use. I just snipped off a few for now, and then I bent the leaves up to add them a bit of dimension. And these little sequins, I was unsure about them in here yet. They are beautiful and match the card so perfectly, but again they are dimensional, so I had to go and check to see if they would fit in an envelope. So I'm bending up the holly leaves there, and in here on this side, and I'm not sure about it. So I thought I would further decorate with the snowflakes first, and then I can always come back and see if my holly leaves work with the design. So I just cut off a load of those branches of the heat embossed snowflakes of the excess that I cut away of the roof, and I just added all the different little branches. I'm not sure what do you call the branches of the snowflakes. I know there's a special name for them. I'm not sure what it is. So I'm just going to call them branches of the snowflakes. And they are all different ones, and I just filled out the 2 sides of the lantern. And then I decided that I wanted to add those holly leaves. They looked brilliant, and I checked in an envelope and the sequins did fit. So they are from the same Papercraft Society box that I took the icicles out of. They have this lovely bluish tint to them, and they are like pearly holographic. I think they are just magical, so beautiful, but they are not flat. They have a little like a cup detail to them. But as I said, I checked, and my card still fits into the envelope to be posted as a small letter. So this is it, almost finished, except I told you that I will be adding some more detail to those stars. And I took a glitter in, which is the Snowball glitter by Chloe's Creative Cards, and I just sprinkled it over the little stars, and this is the card finished. I am chuffed with how this one turned out, honestly. I don't think I've ever done anything like this before. I love how this turned out. So as I said, you can download the template for this one. I will leave a link to it in the description box below, and you can see all the gorgeous detail there. And do leave me a comment. Let me know if you like cards like this. I can just imagine how lovely this would look like with red, green, and the gold. That would be a beautiful one too. I might just come back to revisit this card in the future. But for now, I really am loving this winter wonderland scene. It looks kind of magical. It's like dreaming of a white Christmas, which I haven't experienced since I was a small child. So it would be nice this year, maybe. Please be sure to go over to the other ladies' channels as well. I will leave the link to their videos in the description box below. Check out what kind of a shaped card they made this morning. We are really enjoying this collaboration and we really hope so do you. If you do, subscribe to our channels and hit the notification bell to make sure you get notified anytime a new video we post will go live. If you would like to join in with our challenge using the hashtag postmas2024 on your social media, we would be just delighted to see your makes. I will be back tomorrow with another lovely challenge. Until then, bye!